Crypto is an extremely interesting character and one of the hardest legends to master. His kit is very strong if you use it right, but that's just it. Most people don't understand how to use his kit effectively and usually ends up throwing the game for their squad. There's a lot of ways to use his abilities in a way that gives your team an advantage, but there's a whole lot more ways to use it in ways that lose you the game. So today, we're going to do a quick breakdown of his abilities and some tips to help you win a whole lot more with him. Also, at the end of the video, we're going to add some cool tricks that you can do with him, so when we're done with the tips segment, be sure to stick around to see those as well. My name is LJ, and welcome to Battle Royale Guides. At number 5, let's talk about the drone and what you can do with it. His drone and the way you use it can really lean a fight into your favor. If you're close to an enemy, it spots them and highlights them in real time through walls, so it gives you a lot of information, and Crypto's passive allows his teammates to see them too. But a lot of people will sit in a drone and watch enemies and basically take yourself out of the fight and possibly putting your team in a 2v3. Now, they might have the information where the enemies are, but they're outnumbered. So a way to work with the drone in a better way is you place it in a spot that isn't really easily spotted, but still has a good line of sight on the enemy. And instead of staying in the drone and not doing much but spotting them, you can actually exit the drone without recalling it, and it will stay in the spot you left it and still have its spotting ability. So if anyone runs into its line of sight, it will highlight them for you. Additionally, you can use your EMP ultimate while it's sitting there and you're not piloting it, but I will talk about that a bit later in the video. At number 4, do not use your drone while you're under fire or in a fight that you need to be shooting. If your team is being overwhelmed and you just hide and call your drone, it won't be very useful if your team has the enemies highlighted on their screen. They already know where the enemies are and your team is already dying. Crypto is most useful as a pre-fight tracker. You want to gather information before the fight to ensure the best possible outcome. Now, that doesn't mean he won't be useful mid-fight all the time, but his drone is something that requires very well-timed and strategic play. So just jumping into it won't always be the best for your team. Now, I can't really run through every situation because that will end up being an hour-long video, and my goal today is to have some quick tips to make you better at crypto. But I'll give you an example. You're on a rotation and you come up on an area that you may have spotted someone peeking through a window, but they hid after. So you know there's at least one player there, but that's it. As your teammates slowly push, you can fly your drone in and try to spot them and highlight them to get good info before the fight. So you can plan a proper engagement instead of just running at the building blindly. Like I always say about battle royales, you always want to give yourself an advantage in fights. Never try to force them. At number 3, use your drone or EMP remotely instead of piloting it. Now, this strat for crypto can be really useful when your team is near the final circle and you're posted up in a building. You could essentially place the drone in a spot that won't be seen by the enemy, and you have another set of eyes to spot them as they come in. So maybe a place that you're not fully watching. Now, let's say an entire squad pushes the side your drone is watching. You can now make the decision if they're close enough to use your EMP, even if you're not piloting the drone. You slow them down and make for an easy cleanup for your team. I found this method to be super successful in Capital City in one of the construction buildings. I set up the drone in the top of the elevator shaft with the zip line, and as an enemy came up, I would see them as soon as they touched the bottom of it. So you can either pre-fire them when they get to the top or EMP them like I did. Just don't mind the self EMP. I was really new to crypto at the time. At number 2, don't overextend into areas that give you no escape. Crypto is one of those legends that has no escape with any kind of mobility abilities. So if you push too far and get caught in an undesirable place, you will have to hope to shoot your way out because you're very limited with escape options. If you can't just run away, you're screwed. You want to be thinking about positioning at all times with crypto. Low mobility legends are some of the hardest to master because playing them is so unforgiving, but his kit overall is so useful, it's worth mastering. But not only do you want to be thinking about positioning with crypto himself, you also want to be practicing good positioning with his drone. It has only been a day, but too many times have I seen a drone just flying across the field in the open, being super loud, and then just gets shot down really fast without being useful at all, and then being placed on a 40-second cooldown. It just makes you completely useless as a legend because you now have 0 abilities at your disposal, and you ended up getting your drone shot down from being in a bad spot. I always try to stay near walls and hide close to rocks. Open fields are just a death sentence for both you and your drone. And finally, at number 1, you want to use your EMP wisely. Crypto is a legend that basically requires really good team comms and really good timing. You don't want to EMP a squad and then come to find out your team is miles away and you basically wasted your ult and also gave away the fact that you're close enough to get within EMP range. You want to talk with your team as much as you can to get ready for your EMP and make sure you're getting at least 2 out of 3 of the squad. You want to get the most out of every ability and try to give yourself the biggest advantage possible. And if you're not using your EMP wisely, you'll be doing the exact opposite and putting you and your squad at a disadvantage and possibly losing the game. Okay, now that the tips are out of the way, we got a couple of cool tricks for you to try in game. These are pretty straightforward and I'll go through them quickly. There's no real need for an in-depth explanation. At number 3, the drone has a hitbox, and so with that, you can place a Gibraltar shield on top of the drone for a mobile shield. It works in the exact same way as the heal drone from Lifeline, but instead of having to push it around, you can actually fly it to desired locations. This is one of the most useful and random tricks we've seen for crypto, and it's also pretty cool. At number 2, another trick with the drone is you can actually use it as a grapple spot as Pathfinder. Pretty simple, just grapple at the drone and swing away. And last but not least, you can use your drone to get a teammate banner after they died. This one is useful if your teammate died in a highly dangerous area. Just fly up to the loot box and grab the banner like you would as if you just walked up to it. And you can even go into the storm and take no damage from it with the drone. Really cool and super useful.
I got it. Can I revive with the drone too or no?
What the
That's
fuck?
OP, dude. You can go in the zone and everything.
Okay, guys, that's just about does it for today's video. If you have any tips or tricks we may have missed with crypto, let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to leave a like on the video before you go, and make sure to subscribe so you never miss an upload. My name is LJ, and this has been Battle Royale, guys.